Today, we are trying a new venture. We would like to bring to you stories, topics that has never been told properly. Most of the people are scared about it, but someone has to tell the truth. So me and my co-partner, Luna Ghosh, we are here to talk about the things which mostly is hidden from the general public. So here I welcome Luna Ghosh. She has been working in the social sector for a very, very long time. She has really brought a lot of changes into her sector, and she has tried her level best to create a difference in that area of the society which we mostly ignore. Hi Lina, I would love you to introduce yourself.
Hello Shoma, and thank you. I'm Luna. I've been working in this social sector for last 24 years. I started my journey with CRY. Previously, I used to work to generate income for CRY so that we can support children and communities for development. I worked with CRY for 7 long years, where I used to talk to people about future of these children, schools, education system. It was basically a concept selling to people who haven't met those children who are in deprived condition. Later, I shifted to an organization and started working in the implementing sector. It's very important to understand where the money goes. Earning money was very easy for me because I was very convinced that money was going to the right place. But I needed to understand how it's been used and who are the actual people who are getting benefit out of your money. I was asking money from simple people who were working in various sectors. I was asking for their hard-earned money on a daily basis. So it was my responsibility to understand if I'm doing justice to my commitment. So I joined an implementing organization. I learned how to be with the community people, how to be with the people known as Harijan people or people of super community, which we avoid. Yeah, exactly. I started working with them. I started working with people who used to live in small huts made up of plastic, or you can say anything that is unuseful for you. Those things I started working. Then I learned that there's a wonderful place to work called the red light area. If I tell you that I was very smart and went about doing it, it's wrong. I'm not. I was very scared because I had my pre-notion, which was like red light area is that place and people are bad. But I don't know why. But I took that as a challenge. I went ahead. I started with project of AIDS. The organization helped me out to understand what project it is and how to go and talk to them. Slowly I realized those people living in this red light area were very few. The feeling of being unprotected.
Can I interrupt in
Sure.
between? Yeah. What do you mean by how can they be faithful?
Okay. Unprotected was my feeling for myself. Feeling of unprotection. I mean, being a woman, you do feel difficult in walking around the streets. You get hit by men suddenly on the road, on the boobs, simple as that. I mean, suddenly you get a bump. I mean, no one just, you don't know who just touched you. But thing is, in a red light area, I was most protected by the women who were living in that area. This is what my protection was.
Can
And
you
when
quote
I used to
an
walk,
sorry
sure,
for interrupting in between. Can you quote an incident?
sure. I remember I was in red light area of Kolkata. I won't specifically name the area just for the protection of those people. And it was just general day. We went there for everyday chit chat, just to know how they were and what difficulties they were facing and how can I help being a social worker. Feel difficult in walking around the streets. You get hit by men suddenly on the road, on the boobs, simple as that. I mean, suddenly you get a bump. I mean, no one just, you don't know who just touched you. But thing is, in a red light area, I was most protected by the women who were living in that area. This is what my protection was.
Can you
And when
quote
I used to
an
walk,
sorry
sure,
for interrupting in between. Can you quote an incident?
sure. And it was just general day. We went there for everyday chit chat, just to know how they were and what difficulties they were facing and how can I help being a social worker. And I was there with another person. We both used to go for everyday field visits. And we were talking to these. I mean, how they are, what is their health issue, have they done their ration card and all that. Simple stuff. And then suddenly someone looked at me and I didn't know it was behind me and made some sign. And then there was one lady who called that she is our Didi. Don't even look at her. You can leave. You can go. So I just saw that man. What he thought was, even I was living in that area and I was asking for, you can say, business as a commercial sex worker. So they were like, don't even look at her. She is someone different. So that kind of protection they used to do. This was one incident. Another incident, we had some awareness camp. We used to do awareness camp on a daily basis. So it was pretty late, somewhere around 8:30. It got finished around 8:30. So I was like, how I'm going to go all that. I mean, my house is pretty far from the area that I was working. I was scared. I remember one of the lady, her name is Buridi. We used to call her lovingly Buridi. She said, I'll walk you down. And she came with me to the bus stand, waited till I got into the bus, waved hand, saying good night, and then she left. I mean, this is amazing. I don't know how many of you have received such kind of gesture in your life.
So
That's how it is.
it means even the area which we think is the most unsafest place, there also you can get an experience of humanity.
Absolutely. I mean, they welcome you with open hands. And if you have the guts to accept them as just another person, trust me, they can do anything and everything for you. I mean, I never had issue even having finding foods or using a toilet. I never had those issues. I mean, I could just walk down to any home, knock it down, and say, "Come on, I need to use your washroom." They'll be like more than happy to show me the washroom. I mean, I never had issue. I mean, I used to go on every puja, festival, and I knew I'll have my good amount of lunch with them. So happily we used to live.
That's incredible.
Puja, festival, and I knew I'll have my good amount of lunch with them. So happily we used to live.
That's incredible. Let me start with your beginning. Why did you choose to work in the social sector when you must have got some, you can say, obstacle from your family, from your friends, from your relatives, uh, even from yourself, that why not choose a white collar job?
Okay, joining cry was by mistake. I mean, my life is like that. I always jump in, and it always starts with mistake. But I think that's how my destiny is, and end up being the best thing in my life. I never intended to join crime or any other social sector. I never had an intention. I graduated with my science degree, and I just wanted a job. I mean, because I always had that thing in my mind that once you are an adult, you're supposed to take care of yourself. You should not be a burden on your parents. And that was there top of my mind. So I knew once my graduation is done, I'm going to get a job. So it was like after my exams were over, I asked someone, my sister's friend or colleague, you can say, that I need a job. Can you look out for me? So he said, yeah, I have a place in my office. So first you work as a volunteer, and then we'll see if you are eligible, then we can approach, I mean, we can do the rest. So I went there, worked as a volunteer for a few days, and I didn't know what cry was, what cry used to do. I had no idea, trust me. But then I got the interview and they selected me. And that's how I joined cry.
And for how many years did you stay there?
7 years.
7 years.
And yes.
And any particular achievement that you would like to share?
I remember I made so many calls, so many contacts with the corporate. Vesuvius India Limited, that's in Kolkata. I made a link with them with Cry, and till now they are giving donation to Cry every year. I mean, I'm talking, I left Cry in 2000. So before that it started, around 1997 it started, and till now they're continuing. So that's a big achievement. I mean, it's a big link that I have made.
I have heard that
With them with Cry, and till now they are giving donation to Cry every year. I mean, I'm talking, I left Cry in 2000. So before that it started, around 1997 it started, and till now they're continuing. So that's a big achievement. I mean, it's a big link that I have made.
I have heard that even your name is written in the who's who of Cry. Is that right?
I don't know. That's a surprise for me.
I have read your name in the who's who, and even Jagjit Singh's, you can say, association with Cry is linked to you. Is that right?
Jagjit Singh program, I got the sponsorship. I mean, it was through one of my link that we got the major event was sponsored by one of the corporates. It was one of my very good links. That way it was.
Okay, that means you were the, you can say, the missing link or the bridge between the Cry and the person who got Jagjit Singh on board.
No, there needs to be a correction.
Yeah.
Jagjit Singh it was designed by the Bombay office.
Okay.
The program was designed by the Bombay office. But to get a program, you need to have some budget. And CRY can't afford that budget to spend. I mean, not from the program part.
Okay.
So we used to work with various corporates who can do the sponsorship.
Okay, so you collected the money so that that program could take off from the ground.
Yeah, it was my link, but my seniors went ahead and did it. So it was my link.
Okay, that's why your name is linked with Jagjit Singh. Okay, got it. Now, anything else you would like to add before we end this interview? Any experience with CRY that you feel like mentioning? Any experience with CRY that you feel like mentioning?
Not with CRY, but as a whole, when you work in a social sector, you really can't define the work that you do with your salary, because then you're going to be unhappy with it. But when you relate that with your everyday achievements, seeing a child smiling at you when you just go and say, "Hi baby, how are you?" Or suddenly you see a child coming and say, "Auntie, school nahi jana," and you say, "No baby, you have to go, come, I'll help you out." Those moments makes this work wonderful. Otherwise, if you don't feel that achievement, you don't feel that in your heart, it's no point working in a social sector, because you have to be satisfied with those things. Those are your income, not the salary part.
I will say that I have felt the same thing when I was working as a teacher. Because your salary may be less, but your perks are so huge that everything you can't count with money. There is something else. Any story before we call it a day?
I have so many stories. I mean,
just tell one.
It's 24 years, so 24 into 365 days.
Don't
and
worry.
You can just multiply it.
We will cover it. We will cover the entire thing. But today, as we are starting off, just one story so that people can relate to.
Unique strategy of repeating a TOD. You always have to come back and do the same training with rest of your staff. So I remember we organized this training at IITD with almost 40 people. And we did it for a 2-day session so that they can understand what play therapy is and they can take it down to their field and work with the children. So, and we did it for a 2-day session so that they can understand what play therapy is and they can take it down to their field and work with the children. So, we had all that stuff and we were asking everyone to do 15 minutes of playing. You have to play with the materials that are given to you. It includes lots of dolls, lots of items that the children need, including drawing books, color, pen, pencil, aeroplane, kites, cloths, anything and everything that you can think about. There was this girl. In the end, we do a session where we give you a gift that you wanted from your childhood. There was one girl who wrote a doll. So, and you're supposed to give the gift without saying the name of the person or saying a word. So you have to pick up a small chit, and the name and the subject will be written, and you have to do it. You have to act. So I remember, like, this was first one, someone has to show. So I did it. So I picked that chit and took a doll and went ahead and gave it to a girl. And because she wanted this doll on her birthday when she was around 6 or 7 years old, but she didn't get it. Somehow the family didn't understand or didn't feel it. So I gave it to her as a gift. You won't believe. I saw 3 or 4 more people crying behind me. Because I realized, yes,
all those
and they didn't realize, yes, had this thing that even they wanted it and they didn't get it as a child.
Amazing. Amazing. It's true, we all are grown up, but somewhere the child within us is still alive. You are right. You are
and it's somewhere hurt which were not healed. So I call it a hole in the soul.
amazing. So with that note, we conclude this session. We will come back next week and watch out our video on the YouTube. And please do not forget to subscribe. Thank you and have a good day.
Do like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to press the bell icon. If you have any queries, you can visit our website. You can contact us on LinkedIn, or you can email us at Shomaghoshhelp@gmail.com. All the links are mentioned in the description below.